All right, here we go again. Buckle up, rough roads ahead. I'm on my new little iPad. I purchased an iPad mini. I received a flip from the Lord to change to the iPad mini. I don't want any, the Lord said you don't want anything with any heavy weight. If you need to get those surgeries, you need a small little iPad. And you want to get away from Samsung the best you can. So what happened over the years? A lot of been discovery. I'm under the weather, and when I get back up out of under the weather, I'll explain it all to you. But I'll explain some of it to you right now. So over the years, what they've been doing has been creating panic attacks. Now, when you're a veteran, you're at a loss because every panic attack you have, they say, "Oh, he's just a veteran." And I knew that trick when I left the government, and they were harassing me. The cops would tell the other people that I was just having combat-related stress. That's one of the scams they use in Mount Laurel, New Jersey, that is. So as long as I got away from them, I could heal, and they knew that. That's how they would attack again. Why they would do that? They're crooks. It's just the bottom line. Okay, you can call things what you want, but there's a reality to everything. Trying to turn this thing off here. But the heater. Trying to turn the heater off. The only thing I can't figure out how to do, and it may not be possible, in Safari on Restream, I'm trying to turn on the microphone isolation, and it's just giving me the option for automatic, which is not really what I want. But I don't care. I have other options and things that I could use with it, and it doesn't really sound that bad. I mean, I'll work it out over time. I'm sure the Lord has plans. So they develop these panic attacks to manipulate their victim, not in the way that they would tell you. We developed a panic attack to control the victim. That's a lie. It's the reverse. So again, some of what I explained it before, like the Lord doesn't want it to happen. I don't want it to happen, but there has to be a repercussion for what you're all doing to me. For too long, people just died in silence. So again, that was all them triggering panic attack, but it also includes, and they know, triggering pinched nerves and making pinched nerves worse. I mean, people have temporary pinched nerves, and I've had those before, and they, have tried throughout that time to make them permanent. So what happened is, at a certain point, my body tightened up. I was never fully healed. So don't let them say, "Oh, he's healed." I can imagine in Santa Fe, they said, "Well, we cut his massage because he was healed." There's no way at that point, and massage therapists know that I would ever be healed from what was going on in my body. They spent hours, removing knots from my muscles. And again, that's what the stress does also. And they all know that. Don't let them act surprised. So I imagine when I left Colorado, got to Oklahoma, I looked like I was healed, right? Because I was walking and talking, right? I mean, that's a scam they play. And then you can see the world's falling apart again, right? So what I did was I realized at a certain point that the gastritis I had was being caused by this knot in my lower back. As soon as I released it, I could eat whatever I wanted. I was fine. But what that did is it threw off my back a little bit. But also, at the same time I did that, I began to realize what was triggering a lot of what was going on. That my head was being pulled to the right and down into my body. My neck had muscles had shortened and tightened. See, if they never got involved, I still would have been in all that therapy and never would have actually needed anything like I need now and have any of the pain I have now. It's not my fault, none whatsoever. Enjoy your millions and millions of dollars, and even if you have more than that, just enjoy it because life on earth is limited. So is properties in Los Angeles, or so are properties in Los Angeles, and they're getting more limited every day. Well, that a lot of these places, the Lord knows has meaning to me. I never was going to live in Pacific Palisades, but just north of that, northeast of that, I was looking to see if there was anything available around Topanga, which wouldn't be as expensive, like maybe a room rental or something. Ride my bicycle up there. But again, they did their thing and became non-feasible. So, because I realized how tragic it was causing, I was starting to have like psychological disorder, like real psychological disorder, not just being angry. Right? And I'm like, oh shit, I gotta get this done. So I'm running off to all these places, and not always wearing my mask. And it may have been the doctor's office, this pain clinic that I should have never went into. I didn't wear my mask in there. I was stupid. Right. The whole time I didn't get massages, part of it was worried about COVID, but the idea is they're panicking me. Because I remember in Colorado, the shot was there, and my brother was going to get the shot, and I'm thinking about and they're panicking me. So how do you panic somebody about a shot while they're not, while you're not? I'm not saying I wasn't panicked about the shot directly, because they do. They sit there and they watch me. And when I start looking about getting the shot, so then it just feeds into itself. So they just panic in one direction, then the other direction. It may have healed. If I could have figured, it's weird this time, because every time I thought about what I should do, I got a thought. It took my hand. Again, I'm psychic. I know what's going on. This is how I learned to heal. The spirit entered my hand and showed me the healing gestures. So the spirit enters my hand, starts massaging my neck, doing all this other stuff. Because I was going to massage therapists, and I was just like, but they were massaging the wrong. We were massaging the wrong places. I needed to undo my neck. That's what I should have had done, period. And let everything else just kind of hold off for a little bit. Because I'm busily trying to get the other parts to kind of stiffen up a little bit. Because everything's too soft. What happens is when your muscles are cramped, they get weak. When you undo them, you got to rebuild them back up and activate them. But they'd already developed it and knew they had it when I was trying to get my vehicle, and I couldn't get to the vehicle. Not, that was part of what caused the issues. I could tell right now that 4 years ago, if I had gotten unblocked, I probably would have been fine. Not perfect, but not the damage that I have now and have had. But I'll give it time and take a look see. Well, my back would have adjusted and countered, right? Like it had been doing for a short period of time there. I mean, it's spycraft science, and they're doing it because they're devils, demons, antichrists, witches, and sorcerers. So I'm at a point where, so I get to this point where I figure something out. I figured out how to get the pain gone that I went to the pain clinic for, which never, he couldn't do anything for me. He wanted cash or something. I'm like, get out of here. You're not even allowed to ask me for cash because part of my insurance is Medicare. Right? It's actually against the law. Just shows you how screwy the world is. My mother told me that one. They're never allowed to ask you for cash. And then it just went from bad to worse. Then I found this woman who let my neck go. I told you that. Then I figured out. I went out. Oh yeah, it was the second. So the first time was Saturday, I think it was. I went out and I unfroze my vehicle in the middle of the storm. When it had a lull, I cleaned it off and all that. Then I think I went back outside on Sunday, or maybe I did it Saturday. I can't remember how it worked. But while I was moving with my left hand to break the ice on the windshield, my back started reforming, which could be the reason why it was in pain because I haven't worked the muscles in so long. They're kind of just stupid, and I have to get like a steroid shot and start, manipulating them. I'm not sure. Right. But I definitely would have been much healthier if I could have got to this point, 3 years prior, or kept going. I think in Oklahoma, I didn't like seek any type of help. Right. I was walking off kilter. I was definitely disabled. So in doing that, all of a sudden I woke up and I'm like, oh, I got to clean up the apartment and I got to stack all this wood here. And the Lord's with me, and Lord's speaking with me and through me and saying, you have to just stack all of it. We'll get to the ark if we have to. So going through a bunch of different things, health concerns. Again, I'll explain a lot of it later. Right. Like I said to the Lord, like the Lord already told me before, he said, you already have the ark built. You're just trying to build a fireplace. So the Lord said, it doesn't matter if you throw all that stuff away. It's just, what I believe it's all becomes part of their judgment, the judgment of the devils. You all know who you are. I could name you all day long, and maybe it's all of the above, maybe it's none of the above. Thank you. Thank you, Larry. So again, we're not worried about that. We have the ark. I'm trying to figure out if I'm staying here or heading somewhere else. I don't know. I think my biggest failure was not moving to Fillmore's place, Unity in Lee Summit, for like almost probably 12 years ago. I could have moved there, or I could have moved to. I went to Santa Fe. And again, my intentions were honest, no matter what was going on there. I just saw the recent information. I think the one woman may have been my neighbor. She couldn't have been my neighbor. She was the big, so she had a big house. But I knew the woman that passed away, and I don't relish in the idea that she passed away, and I don't relish that there were sexual improprieties. But I knew back then that I wasn't the one trying to have sex with people. And I didn't say anything, but they just wouldn't stop. So they had people out trying to get me. They may have actually, and that's the weird part. That woman that passed away may have been part of the group that put me out of the massage and tortured me around it. Correct. And she just up and died, I guess, in 2021 or something like that. I mean, it's that dirty, the world. I just couldn't believe it. I don't care. Like, if you're sexual, then it's your problem. Just don't mess people up. I mean, if you have voluntary, that's fine. Right. So, like, when I went there, I helped single mothers. I don't care. You're not going to stop me from helping single mothers by saying I'm trying to do something funky. You're the people trying to do something funky. That's the problem. Thank you, Mary. Although I'm not in position now to help many single mothers. See, I was trying to get to this point to figure out if what kind of surgery do I need? Will surgery work? So before I get all of this happening, I start going to get my family doctor back together because I went to the emergency room. And he said, you got a cyst on your kidney. And he said, yeah, and everybody's like, it's nothing. It's just a cyst. And I find out my mother has one. So again, that's where that comes from, probably like a genetic clock. You turn 60, you get a cyst on your kidney. So I still haven't got that MRI yet, but Like my doc said that the guy said, "Look, I'm sure it's like the way they write it up. They can't guarantee it, but I had the emergency room doctor say I'm sure it's benign, And then my other doc's like, it's not like you got cancer or anything. So again, they're not even supposed to say that, but they did. So I'll just tell you, it's just the family doctor I set up was not the one to set up, but I had very limited choices. And again, if they would stop using that panic attack method, I would be able to get some. What they want is me to get on medicine, and then they laugh he's on medicine. I mean, that's how sick they are, knowing they're the ones causing the panic attacks. Again, there's a hell to pay for that. And again, God will judge it. If God wants to usher you straight into heaven, go right ahead, all of you. But that's not how it was explained to me. It's actually how you treat the innocent people. That's how it was explained to me. Or the less fortunate, quote unquote. Which is where I wanted to go with the discussion eventually, anyway. A little bit of gargle there. I mean, they have knowledge of my medical problems. So they just tell everybody it's just a mental health issue while they're pinching my nerves and everything else and trying to cause me not to be able to walk. So it's hope that once I get a steroid shot and get back into some physical therapy and massage, that I'll be able to structure the back into something that won't need immediate surgery. Because I was almost getting to that point where I actually had it to the point where both sides were released and everything was kind of symmetrical. I didn't feel any pain in the upper back. I mean, obviously, I needed to do some physical therapy to strengthen it. Right? But when it does that, the lower left, there's like a bone spur that hits a nerve. I could feel that. I could feel like the nerve being twinged. So, it that's a surgery that I knew I maybe needed. Now, I had a doctor years ago, which makes sense now to me, say that he wasn't going to fuse it. It was one doctor that said he was going to just clean it out. And he's actually one of the Yogi Bhajan family people, son of a Khalsa member. So he said he was just going to go and clean it out and just clear that nerve. But again, that can cause all sorts of other issues. But as you get older, there's other issues. If you lose your mobility and you lose your peace of mind from pain, it's just as long as they don't mess it up too bad. Right. I mean, if I was one of those people where they could just fuse my spine and everything would work, lower lumbar, those people living good lives if it works. When it works, it works. They get that quality of life back. But this is what they're about. It isn't happening because I lifted weights. It's happening because they're fighting my health care and they're fighting my physical therapy and my massage. I mean, when I got to Santa Fe, my health had been restored enough to realize that as long as I stayed with my physical therapy, which was massage therapy, I'd be okay. But you just can't once they start that operation. But see, they knew that also, so that's why they did it. Nobody was getting me back for something. It started right from the beginning. That's why I moved to Arizona for a little bit. But I kind of like Santa Fe, and I went back to see. And I think it didn't start up right away. Yeah, I think if I'd have been able to loosen my back 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I think I'd have been able to pull it off again real easy. Right? It's just I couldn't tell from the condition I was in, and I couldn't find anybody that could do it. And in reality, I'm the one that told the massage therapist at the two big massage therapy organizations here, Massage Envy and Hand and Stone, where to massage. So again, if the spirits hadn't showed me, I couldn't show them. Right. There's a lot going on, and it is what it is. Again, I'm not the only person they're doing this to. This is probably happening. They're doing this to those mass shooter types. They just go nuts from having their whole body just cinched together. They think it's funny. They create mass shooters. Mass shooters just don't happen. They create them. And they come along and say, "You need us to protect your family." So yeah, at first I had a little problems with the iPod Mini, but I can recommend it. It fits a niche. You can control the font, make it bigger if you have a problem with it being a little bit smaller. Well, the Lord, I didn't want to, I wanted to keep what I had, and the Lord said, "You got to move on. You got to go to, got to go to the Apple stuff. Got to get out of the Google. What is that thing? Android." Says they sell the source code to everything. You got enough money, you could do anything to anybody an Android. Probably one of the government criminal enterprises. They sit there with their Google machine. Shows very wicked, very much psychological manipulation, and a very high order. Don't know how much health I have left, whether I need surgery or not at this point. But I have to go through a series of. This is where I left off. I was trying to get unlocked so I can get somewhere. But I remember I got to Colorado and they started harassing me where I lived. At the extended stay and around it. I went to a massage therapist. And actually, I did get to a couple more massage therapists there, but they weren't the right type. Like somebody beat me up the other day in massage therapy in Olathe Point, I guess the north one. The majority of them are very nice people. I was so disrespected in Santa Fe. I can't even imagine why anybody allows those people to own anything. Correct. Got to also remember, I am a combat veteran, a disabled combat veteran, a disabled veteran of law enforcement. No matter what, the idiots that screwed people up for life and got paid by external billionaires and millionaires tell you about my careers. Of course, they're not idiots, they're millionaires and billionaires, right? Or millionaires. Well, one day they'll find out what that millionaire status cost them. So I'm going through the Hanukkah thing, not even thinking of anything, and then all of a sudden I figure this thing out with my back, and I release it, and I'm like, ah, it's not working. But we'll see, because really the way it was is my back would structure, but not be overly tight, so that it would all work and fit together. I don't know if that's possible now. And that was their goal, to keep me bound up long enough to destroy it, so massage and physical therapy couldn't fix it, and maybe not even surgery. So again, I'm having panic attacks. I got to decide surgery. I got to decide this. I got to decide. But my goal was true, and it finally happened here years later. It shouldn't have had a lull. Right, was to get my body unglued and pressed out. Don't ask me why anybody else couldn't do it. I have no clue. Again, if they curse you and watch you and curse you all day, then sometimes you can't find the people. And then try to fit it all back together and see what happens. Because I was afraid of getting the surgery before I could get fully released. But again, if they would stop harassing me and stop with the nonsense and all the role playing fabrications, then my mind could comprehend and move better in what I need to do. So it's funny. I go to counseling when I get to points like this in life to help me, because I don't have anybody. Again, to me, it's a woman. It's like a wife, but not a wife. You know what I mean? Yeah. I discuss it with the wife. So last time the woman was nice too, but so I had one. I just said, I'm gonna go talk to this woman. She was worked at the VA for a while, and she did some geriatric stuff. And yeah, if I met that woman, we'd have had a fun time together in life, just being friends even. So it's pretty cool. It was a good match, thanks God. No, I'm not fantasizing. So but it's funny because I know how to read things, but you don't always know if it's that when it first comes on. So I'm being repelled from her as soon as she comes on. What's wrong with this woman? Look how she's speaking. What is she, retarded? It's like Satan, you know. So so we start speaking, we start laughing because we had similar government experience. She had to get out. She's like, I had to get away from that. What's that? What do they say? You know, it's 25% of the people who do the work. She had a strange experience. Hers was, there were only certain union employees that were allowed to be union employees. So she wasn't allowed to be a union employee, and so, neither were some of the others. So the union employee would always run, like, do something wrong and then run to the union, but nobody could do anything because they weren't union employees, like, to combat it. So it was pretty good. We had a good little counseling session, and it's funny because her thing is coping strategies. And that's what I was telling my brother. He goes, "What are you getting counseling for?" I said, "It's a coping strategy. I just need to just bounce things off of somebody, and it's good. It's pretty cool." But it's funny, I didn't go overboard, but I let her know I was a whistleblower, and they enter into my life and she knows probably. She's not going to feed into it, but she's not going to deny that people enter into my life and destroy it. Right? I mean, it's part of it's putting the victim to sleep. They put me to sleep, and I can't get in the right direction. So it is what it is, and isn't what it isn't. I'm just trying to walk in my shoes while I'm speaking. I couldn't figure out what I was missing with my back. I forget to put my shoes on. I have to put my shoes on and walk with my inserts, and then my back reforms better. So I'm really pleased with this iPad. I don't like having to pay the money, but you know, they really made it convenient. They gave me the iPad account or the Apple account. I had the financing options. Something I was looking into doing for years, but never got to. And so it isn't horrible. I mean, things are coming around. And then after I bought this iPad, one of my banks shows up with a $200 bonus offer if I get this credit card. It's not a bad credit card. It's 1.5% uh, points, but $200 on $1,000 spent is 20%. So that's what I'll be getting here shortly. Uh, Amazon showed up with a Chase Amazon Prime card. Got $150 to spend there. So little things are working. I opened up a Wells Fargo checking account. Got a $300 bonus coming from that. So little things, little things. And of course, money isn't everything. I said, just don't take my health. That's what I told him. I said, take my life, take my money, take my wife, do whatever you want, just don't take my health. And that was kind of God's ultimatum, not mine. And I didn't make it an ultimatum, actually. I said, please don't do that. Right. Just leave me my health. Well, people in LA are responsible, there's no doubt. Whether the fire's related, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, Trump's still not in office, so all this hype is, whatever. Right. I think he's going to create too much friction. And we're going to get something like COVID again. That's how this stuff happens. I mean, no, I'm so much better and at peace right now. I mean, the Lord's definitely here. So I'm just not sure what I'm going to do because if one day I can't walk and I'm here alone and I have no family and it's pretty messy that way. I tried to move into communities and meet people, but they won't let that happen. If worse comes to worse, they just turn it into a major law enforcement operation, stopping some rapist murderer from harming everybody in the religious community. I could afford to live at that. I was close to it. I didn't want to move to Missouri because they had a vehicle. They wanted vehicle inspections or something. They had vehicle. I think they got rid of that though, didn't they? I have to take a look. And I don't know if that's a place for me anyway because there are, everybody's got personalities. So it's funny if I talk to a single mother, all the guys that actually hit on single mothers look at me like I'm hitting on them. I just ascertain if they need anything and tell them if they ever need a ride. Just give me a call. When my father died in 1970, I guess it was, my mother didn't even drive a car. She had worked briefly using public transportation, I think, when she was younger at Social Security or something like that. I guess where my grandmother worked. Or no, she worked at Blue Cross Blue Shield somewhere along the way. I can't remember. She worked somewhere. But she didn't have a job. She didn't have a real education. She's a stay-at-home mom. A Jewish family, kind of, but, you know, right. And people came along and helped her out. Nixon helped her out, and Uncle Sam. In Philadelphia, we had a bunch of I said Detective Burke was our friend. Detective Burke, a couple other people. They were, they were people who had influence in the community. The lawyer Sanders, he had offices near our house. Sometimes we'd visit. So again, that's what the world's supposed to be. Thanks. So I'm hoping maybe, the one doctor, he knew nothing about me. Maybe he just wanted the money, but he was convinced a steroid would calm all a lot of what I got going on down. It wouldn't say it would make everything functional, but I would have a lot less pain and things like that. Which sometimes steroid calms the muscle down so you can train it, retrain it, and bring it back up. So we'll see. But boy, this snowstorm was crazy. Crazier than you'll ever know. So there's more to the story that I need to speak to you about, but the Lord said don't speak about it, chill, till we move a little bit further with it. And it's nothing anybody needs to be worried about. It's not like, oh, I'm gonna go off and go do something. Except charity or something. So again, I don't condone Hamas doing what they did to the world. I was the one that said we needed to embrace Fatah and attack Hamas with Fatah and Israel together and put them out. But no matter what you want, I can't condone that type of war fighting that killed all those children. Remember, I tell you, yell at the sky all you like, just don't act out. I said that for years, and then some people showed up that yelled at the sky. I don't know. Was it me? Did I do that? Well, I'm walking and talking right now, hoping that my back reforms so I can sleep okay tonight. All right, stay peaceful. Praise God in all that you do. Praise God.